I've been trying to do a sit down about me video to upload here onto my channel. And for some reason it just feels weird. I don't know why, but I just keep stumbling on my words. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to introduce myself here. And it makes absolutely zero sense. Like, I get in front of the camera every single day and I talk to people on my Instagram. I film my videos every single week, like Lejla, please tell my story. I do that every single time, and for some reason just sitting down and talking directly to the camera as if I'm reading off some script feels weird. I don't know why, I can't tell you why, but instead of letting that get in the way, I've just decided I'm going to do it like this, just like chit chatty, add it to the vlog instead. So for those of you who don't know me and you've stumbled across my page, it might have been random, it may have not. Maybe you were searching for a community of other survivors of domestic abuse. My name is Lejla. I am a 31-year-old divorcee, single mother of one. I am also a survivor of domestic abuse. I experienced mental, physical and emotional abuse, heavily gaslit throughout my whole relationship. I was also married to my abuser too. We are since divorced. And what do I do over on Instagram? Over on Instagram, I'm just making myself a tuna pitta because I'm starving. I've got to get Bella in half an hour, well, in about 45 minutes. Over on Instagram, I have been raising awareness for domestic abuse for the last 6 months, so since October. I made a video, a story time video of someone else's experience about her sister who is sadly no longer with us, and a lot of the time here on YouTube I'm not exactly sure what I can and I can't say for fear of being kicked off this platform. Anyway, I shared a really devastating story on my friend's behalf, and the video went viral, and as it stands it's got like 2.7 million views. My page went viral. I now over there have got like 21,000 followers, and between myself and my followers, we've created this amazing community of domestic abuse survivors and victims. And so every week I get in front of the camera now and I share other women's stories of abuse. They email them to me and I put their story together and I get in front of the camera, I film myself, and they go up on my page, and these women get to maintain the anonymity whilst telling the world their stories, telling the world what they've been through. I also do loads of other videos, or have done loads of other videos on there, like real videos where I try my best to educate people on what gaslighting is and what trauma bonds are, on what emotional abuse can look like, what physical abuse can look like, on red flags, all kinds of things, or what to look out early on in relationships. I post a lot of organisations that you can get help from if you are a victim and you want to leave your abuser. There's loads of organisations and charities that are there to help you. So what else do I do over there? Other than generally getting in front of the camera almost every day on Instagram live, and talk to people and just share my thoughts. I don't know why, but for some reason people like to listen to me talk. I have no idea. Like, I'm just like, it's me, it's just Lejla. Why do people like to listen to me talk nonsense all day sometimes? And I'm doing other things as well. I have recently started inviting people onto my platforms. I share my live sessions with them and they share their real life experiences of other real life issues. Again, I'm not sure exactly what I can say here without being flagged, but there are other forms of abuse that people have experienced, and they've come onto my page and they've shared that with the world. We've discussed things like autism, we've discussed mental health, PTSD, depression, psychosis, all that stuff that nobody else wants to talk about. I do it over on my channel, and wow, this is all I wanted to say when I was sitting down. at my desk and I just couldn't get the words out. I don't know why. See, now I feel way more comfortable just casually chit-chatting with you, and maybe it's just not my style to sit down formally and make videos. Maybe that's just not the kind of person I am. So if you don't know what my Instagram is, it is by, so by.layx. I'm also on TikTok. I repost stuff on TikTok that I post on Instagram. I've not actually done any fresh content on TikTok, but I do plan on doing that very soon as well. I will obviously leave my social media and my email linked down below. If you are a survivor of domestic abuse and you have a story you would like me to share with the world, please email it to me. My email's always open, so are my DMs over on Instagram. Oh my goodness. Okay, that feels good to get that out. And also just go and explore the community that's out there. You are not alone. You are not alone in this journey, no matter how low you feel. Maybe you've just left your abuser and you have no idea what a life after abuse looks like. Follow me, subscribe here on YouTube, like my videos, come back and watch my vlogs. I'm gonna show you. I'm showing you all the good bits, all the bad bits, all the what's the good, the bad and the ugly about what life is like when you experience abuse for such a long time, and then what happens after you leave. I don't think I finished telling my story properly earlier about the screenshots and the co-parenting stuff with my ex-abuser and the gaslighting tactics that he likes to still try and use on me. But maybe after I do the school run, if I can get a moment to myself whilst Bella is completely preoccupied with her own stuff and she can't hear what I'm talking about, then I can sit down and add a bit more, because I think a few more things have come into my head. Also, I'm very open with my child. She knows why her father and I have separated. I don't keep that a secret from her. I haven't told her everything. She doesn't know exactly everything, but she knows that there was physical abuse involved, and that's why I left, to keep myself safe. And on top of that, I no longer loved her dad anyway. I was just heavily trauma bonded to him, and I didn't realise for a really, really long time. I feel so much better now that I've said all of that. I also went live earlier on Instagram doing my makeup to film an about me video, the sit down video that I clearly couldn't get my words out. And on the live, I cried. The first time, I cry a lot in my story time videos when I'm sharing other women's experiences, but they're more out of empathy, because I'm a big empath, right? I feel emotions, like I feel everybody's emotions, the good, the bad, all of it. But this was the first time my followers actually saw just raw emotion from me, and I could not stop myself. I think I was a bit triggered by a particular incident that had happened to me in my abusive relationship, and I couldn't stop the tears. And I think sometimes it's hard, unless you have been through abuse, it's hard to understand the paradox of emotions as a survivor, right? Because my life has moved on. I'm well into my healing process and my journey. However, those experiences are going to stay with me forever. That trauma that I experienced in that relationship, it's always going to be there. It's always going to be embedded in my brain, and there's going to be things that trigger me. It's what happens when you've been through traumatic experiences in your life, no matter how far into your healing journey you are. You could be married with the love of your life, and you've found happiness and you've moved on and you have a whole new family and all that good stuff, right? And one day suddenly you're just triggered by what your abuser did to you, by something you experienced with your ex-abuser, and you can't explain why. You know you don't miss them, you know you don't care for them at all, but you can't explain what it was that triggered you. And that happened to me. That happened to me during the live earlier. My life has moved on massively since leaving my ex-abuser. I'm in a good place, you know, like leaving my abuser was the best thing I ever did. So if you are here watching this video and you think, God, will I ever find happiness after leaving my abuser? The answer is yes. Yes, you will, and I'm living proof of it. I'm not in a relationship, I'm single. Happiness doesn't always come from someone else. It doesn't come from being in a relationship. Happiness can come from you. And as cliche as that sounds, I'm living proof of it. If you go over to my Instagram page, you will see I've documented so much of my life on there in the last 6 months. But here I am. I'm ready to open up more to you guys. I'm ready to share my life with the world, and just hope that I can do the same thing here on YouTube that I have been doing on Instagram. Keep raising awareness, keep educating and spreading knowledge, and create a safe space. Maybe you've never found a community of people who are like you. And again, I'm welling up, because that was me a year ago. This time a year ago, a year and a half ago. I left my abuser a year and a half ago in September, October 2019. And I was completely alone. I had nobody to turn to that understood me. I didn't have a community of other women who got what it felt like to be a victim and a survivor of abuse. But we're here now. We're over on Instagram, and I really, really hope we can do the same here on YouTube. Oh, I'm gonna eat my lunch now and see how much of this I get through. Okay, so I've decided I'm going to explain those screenshots properly. I'm in a much calmer mood now. And I was watching back the clips from earlier, and I just didn't feel like I did my story justice there. So I'm going to sit down in these last few minutes whilst Bella is still at school, and I'm going to explain them as best as I possibly can and explain the backstory to them. So here goes nothing. I hope this is a good angle. So I'm going to go through this message of gaslighting that I have experienced since leaving my abuser, because I feel like a lot of the time people just think, they ask questions of victims and survivors like, why didn't you just leave? And they just assume that abuse stops the second you leave your abuser, and that couldn't be further from the truth. And now I feel like I've calmed down from earlier. I watched those clips back and I really wasn't doing my story justice at all. So what I posted on Instagram earlier, I might insert them here in a clip or not, depending on how I feel when I'm editing this, because I do want to get this video out today, but I also want to do it justice too. So there was a period of, after I left my abuser, I was very big on, I really thought I could make this like co-parenting relationship work with him. Little did I know that first and foremost, co-parenting doesn't exist. I've got my own views on that, and that's over on my Instagram if anyone wants to know. Secondly, it's not possible to co-parent with an abuser. They, especially when they're a narcissist, when there's a massive struggle for power and control and they're trying to gain it back, they will always use the child and visitation and access as a way of manipulating, other forms of emotional, mental abuse and gaslighting. So last year, at the beginning of lockdown, my daughter and her father, they had regular communication via Skype, and I found that after overhearing some conversations, I could hear that he was saying things that were really about me, like really heavy, manipulative about me and my family and so on and so forth. And I was just not with it. I was like, this is not okay at all. So I figured I wanted to put some firm boundaries down, whereby I had some more control over the situation, and that I felt like my daughter wasn't going to be hearing something that she shouldn't be hearing at that age. So in the end, I think it was in April, sorry if I say loads, but in the end, I think it was around April time, I finally said to him, she will no longer have access to Skype, as in my child, and to check his emails going forward in regards to contact with her. And I set down these phone boundaries. The ins and outs of the boundaries I set down, really, they're not that massively relevant, other than the most thing that's relevant for me to say is that I gave him phone contact 3 times a day via me. And of course, he wasn't happy about it. And the thing that you'll always find with abusers is, as soon as you put new boundaries down, and they're firm boundaries, you're always going to get backlash. So be prepared for that. Every single time you put your foot down after leaving them, they're always going to kick back some way, somehow. Thing is if you give an abuser an inch, they will always take a mile. So you have to be firm when you're setting these boundaries with them. After that message I sent to him, his response, if you'll see it on my Instagram story, please go over there to check it out. I'll put it on my highlights. His response was that I was absolutely hysterical, that I'm having a midlife crisis and that's why I left and that's why I'm doing this, that I'm denying my daughter access to her father, that I'm a disgruntled baby mother. The reason why I'm sharing this with you guys and why I've shared the screenshots on my Instagram story is because I want people to see how much gaslighting happens in these abusive situations, right? Of course, my abuser has no control or power over me anymore at all, but that won't stop him from trying to gain control and power over me again, because that's a dynamic that was created between the two of us. There was a trauma bond between the two of us. And so the abuser will always try and gain that back from you. They always will. It will always be a constant power struggle, which is why for me, I choose not to co-parent with him. I have absolutely no desire to have any kind of co-parenting relationship with my abuser, because he will always try and use that as a way to manipulate me emotionally, and he will always try and do it through our daughter too. And so now I'm at a place where, when I sent that message initially to him, the email about putting boundaries down, I felt really guilty, and I thought, oh God, like maybe I am denying my child access to her father. And those words in that message, they did have an effect on me, because I didn't quite understand what gaslighting really was. I didn't understand that this was emotional abuse, what he was still trying to do to gain back control over me, right? And so those words, they had an effect on me. I thought, God, I'm such an awful mum, like maybe I'm making the wrong choice. But let me tell you something, here I am almost a year later on from those messages, and I've put down more boundaries, and I continue to put down more boundaries, to a point where I've now cut phone contact completely between my daughter and her father, because an abuser cannot adhere to your rules. It's almost impossible for them to. In my experience, I know everybody has different experiences, but in my experience, it's almost impossible for the abuser to adhere to any kind of boundaries that I put down. And why is that? Because they're always going to try and gain power and control over you. That's the whole point of abuse. So once you figure out the gaslighting tactics, the ways that they can make you feel like really rubbish about yourself and doubt yourself, that's what gaslighting is intended to do. It's intended for you to doubt your reality and why you're making certain decisions. So as I say, here I am now, a year later almost from sending that message, and I feel absolutely zero guilt, none whatsoever. And I will continue to put down more boundaries if I had to. And in a lot of cases, you'll find that abusers will use the victims or survivors' mental health against them. Especially for me, like in this, going back to the message, being called hysterical and being told that I'm having a midlife crisis and that's why I left. And those words can be really damaging to a victim or survivor, especially if you do suffer from things like anxiety, PTSD, depression, or if you suffer from really serious mental health issues like schizophrenia or bipolar or any form of psychosis. To tell someone that they are hysterical and having a midlife crisis is awful. And then, as I said, to always expect some kind of kickback from your abuser too. My kickback was that my abuser didn't contact my daughter for 3 months, from April to July, on her birthday. And that was his way of saying, I'm not following your rules. So always expect that from your abusers, and just make sure that you're putting yourself first. Sometimes you need to do that, and putting your own needs first before your child does not make you a bad mum at all. My thing is, how can you be a good parent if you're suffering mentally and physically, if you're at risk of being triggered all the time, of any more physical abuse? Sometimes you have to say, you know what, I need to put these boundaries down for me. And as a result, maybe the contact between the abuser and the child will suffer in some way, somehow. But remember, that's not your fault. You did not put yourself in that position. You were not the one doing the abusing. This is all down to the abuser's actions as to why you're here. Because when you put down boundaries, and your abusers, they're gonna do that. They're gonna push the boundaries as much as they can. and they're good for as long as you allow it. They'll keep doing it over and over again. And really what you want to do is get yourself to a place where you're strong and you follow through with your boundaries and the rules that you set for yourself. And it doesn't make you a bad mum. And I'm repeating myself now, but it does not make you a bad mum to put your own needs first. It makes you a better mum to do that, because you're going to be more mentally stable, you're going to be more emotionally stable, you're not at risk of any physical harm because you don't have your abuser around you. And also, a message I get a lot from women on Instagram is when they say things like, oh, you know, but he's a good dad. And whilst on my page on Instagram, I don't gender abusers. We don't bash people. We're not there bashing abusers or bashing men. That's not what my page is about at all. I don't think it's productive. But there's one thing I always say to my followers is that a good father would never abuse the mother of his children. I hope that women come here and watch this video and they go and see the screenshots that I have posted over on my story. I'll be doing a lot more work around this, like I always do with everything that I post. And just to know that you're not alone, you are not going crazy, you are not a bad mother. And so from my experience, if I'm the person that has to be the one to show you that, then so be it. If I'm the one that has to really let you into these like intimate parts of my life for you to realise that you're not going mad, that you are normal, that what's happened to you is abusive and you're being gaslighted, then so be it. I will keep doing this day in, day out, and I really, really hope that it helps some person, one woman, a victim, a survivor somewhere out there, because there was a period in my life where I was really alone with this stuff and I felt like nobody understood me. You're not alone. If no one else understands you, I do, I promise. So that's what's in my memory bank at the moment in regards to those messages. If I think of anything else, I'm gonna grab my camera straight away and tell you all. Now, it's weird, right? Because I really want to get my story out there. I really want my followers to get a better understanding of what I experienced. And the thing is I feel like I can't do that overnight. I feel like it's going to be this whole long journey for me too, but it's a journey I have to do for myself, not just to help others, but for me. It's a journey I have to do for my own healing and for my own leaving process, really. Sometimes when you have been heavily gaslit for such a long time, you do doubt yourself, because that's how mental and emotional abuse affects you long term. You still end up with those doubts in your head and you carry that through into other parts of your life, whether it's work, relationships, family, friends, whatever. And that's the bit that really, I think, stays with you, because you don't know it's happened. You don't recognize it as abuse because nobody tells you it's abuse. And sometimes one memory, I feel like it's a jigsaw. I pull one memory from my memory bank and I put that together. And then I remember something else that's buried deep into my subconscious and I'm like, oh my God, okay, I need to grab that memory out now and I need to piece that together. And I feel like this journey for me, in getting my own story out there, just like I have done for other women, it's going to be a process, and I absolutely need to do it for myself. And I really, really hope that it will help women out there who are like me, who didn't realise that they were being abused, who were gaslit, whose abuser denies and still continues to gaslight them even after they've left. And I'm taking you on this journey with me. I'm not doing this alone. You're all coming on this journey with me, whether you like it or not. So if you want to see things get a little bit messy for a while, follow me, follow my life. Okay, so guys, I figured out, I'm done filming about the text messages and stuff like that, the Skype messages with my abuser. And then I figured out why my first two vlogs look so small and like shrinked. The clips look like they've shrunk. It's because of the editing software I was using. I was using Splice. I tried it over on iMovie and it seems to come out normal. So I'll be using iMovie from now on. It'll just take a bit of getting used to for me, because I've not really used iMovie before. I used it maybe like once or twice. Wow, my arm really hurts. So I've obviously kept Bella out of today's vlog for a reason. As open and honest as I am with Bella about what I've been through, there's still some things that I like to protect her from, if that's the right word. Protect her and myself. Some things I'm not ready to talk to her about. Some things I don't think are age appropriate. And when it concerns the contact, sorry, my shaky hand. When it concerns the contact between her and her father, I like to keep her out of it as much as possible. I don't want her to be like in the middle thinking, oh, mummy and daddy are doing this. So it's just not something that she has to worry about at all. She's 6 years old. She can go on with her 6-year-old life and enjoy it playing Roblox, because that's all she cares about right now. Her friends at school, going to school, playing Roblox, watching The Descendants and zombies. She's 6, for God's sake. That's all she wants. And as loving and caring as she is, I'm allowing her to be innocent. I'm allowing her to have those innocent childhood years, because the last year and a half has been so difficult for her, knowing that her parents have divorced, knowing that her mum experienced abuse from her father. It's a lot for a child to process, and yeah, children are resilient, but they shouldn't have to have these kind of experiences so early on. So I do try and protect her. As honest as I am with her, I try and protect her just the same way too. I adore her, but she won't be in today's vlog. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to edit today's video, and then I'm going to post the screenshots onto Instagram. And hopefully you lovely lot are going to come over here and listen to what I've got to say, listen to me explain that message. I hope I've done myself justice. I've said what I've had to say. I'm not going to film anymore, because then I end up overthinking it and then ruining what I wanted to say initially. So I'm waffling on now. I'm going to come off this. I'm going to edit the video, do dinner and post.